Hello everyone, let me introduce you today to Pedro. He's the CEO of a Portuguese company. He's smart, experienced, and well respected. But despite his long, strong leadership, he has a problem. His team is disengaged, innovation is slow, communication feels blocked. His leadership style, which worked 10 years. But Pedro isn't alone. Many leaders are like him, struggling with outdated top down systems that leave them stuck. They just don't know how to lead differently, even though they want to. And that's where we come in with InSoul. Our challenge was to create a value proposition of VCW for impact leadership. In essence, we had to develop a journey to help leaders like Pedro to evolve from command and control methods to leadership styles rooted. Hello everyone and welcome to our final presentation for the course Innovation and Value Creation Wheel. Over the past 12 weeks, my group and I have collaborated with our key decision maker, Maria Julia Nunes, CEO of InSoul. Our challenge: to define the value proposition of VCW for an impact leadership program using the VCW method. We co-created the program and designed a prototype of an impact and mindfulness leadership training program that integrates the VCW methodology and promotes mindful, impactful leadership within businesses. This is the overview of the VCW methodology we followed, structured into 5 phases: define, increase, assess, narrow, and act. You'll see this wheel reappear throughout the presentation to keep us anchored in the process. Here's what we'll take you through today. We'll begin by framing the challenge and showing our diagnostic insights. Then we'll guide you through our ideation and design process using the VCW, walk you through the program prototype, and conclude with our go-to-market and implementation strategy. This framework not only helped us to create a great structure for our project, but also to find the best possible solution for InSoul. Our team consists of me, Emilia, Filippo, Laureline, and Maria. Each of us brought unique strengths to the research, strategy, design, and communication of this project. We divided the workload by phase and area of expertise, ensuring cross-functional collaboration across stakeholder research, program design, business model analysis, and storytelling. Let us now get into the first phase of the value creation wheel, which is the define phase. It consists of the diagnostic, the definition of the challenge, and the definition of the expected KPIs. At first, we want to start with the diagnostic, which will give us a good overview about the current status quo. For more context and background, let us look at InSoul and understand InSoul's strategic identity. InSoul is a consulting company based in Portugal, led by Maria Julia Nunes. Their vision is to create a transformative impact through strategic alignment of people's nature and company objective to ensure that actions lead to meaningful results, both personally and professionally. Their mission is to develop emotionally intelligent, self-aware, and resilient leaders through a holistic model that combines mindfulness with scientific evidence. Their work is centered around 3 pillars of energy, focus, and vision, which facilitate the mobilization of resources to enable effective action towards achieving results. Transforming people, teams, and organizations by aligning strengths, values, and leadership practices is their USP. To understand the gap our program needed to fill, we first had a look at what InSoul already offers. Their work is grounded in empowerment and transformation, supporting leaders, teams, and organizations through tailored consulting, coaching, and training. Mindfulness is already embedded in their DNA as a core transformation tool, though it's not always branded as such. Their core solutions span from agile leadership and team cohesion to entrepreneurship and personal development. In the training pillar, they offer soft skills and leadership development, where mindfulness and leadership is already a flagship offer. And everything is underpinned by the InSoul scaling model, which aligns energy, focus, and vision, as previously mentioned, to drive sustainable transformation. So, our goal wasn't to reinvent the wheel, but to connect these offerings into a focused, differentiated, and market-ready value proposition that builds on what's working while addressing unmet needs of leaders nowadays. Now, to further set the stage for our problem identification, we began by understanding the context in which InSoul operates. There is growing pressure on leaders nowadays to deliver not only results, but also purpose and well-being. Research on mindful leadership shows it enhances self-regulation, decision-making, and resilience. We saw this as the foundation for a program that helps leaders slow down, reflect, and act more consciously in this fast-paced environment. Now, what is mindful leadership? Mindful leadership involves cultivating self-awareness, focused attention, and emotional regulation to lead with clarity and compassion. The core benefits include enhanced decision making, so mindfulness practice, which improves leaders' ability to make thoughtful and less reactive decisions. It improves emotional intelligence, increases resilience. It can foster innovation by mindful approaches which encourage open-mindedness and creativity within teams. And our research highlights have shown that a study published in Frontiers in Psychology paper found that mindful leaders engage in behaviors that support the creation of trusting relationships, enhancing overall leadership effectiveness. Research in Frontiers in Psychology identified three main qualities as mindful leaders: attention, awareness, and authenticity, which contribute to effective leadership. According to the Center for Creative Leadership, mindfulness helps leaders live with intention, strengthening their ability to connect with themselves and others and to lead change effectively. Now, why does this matter nowadays? In today's fast-paced and complex business environment, leaders face constant challenges that require adaptability and emotional intelligence. Mindfulness equips leaders with the tools to navigate uncertainty, foster inclusive cultures, and drive sustainable business performance. InSoul primarily targets corporate clients across various industries that are interested in developing their leadership capabilities. This includes large corporations, SMEs, and sometimes even startups that value strategic leadership development. The target market for InSoul values comprehensive development programs that not only enhance leadership skills, but also align with their organizational culture and strategic objectives. Customers are looking for programs that offer practical insights and real-world application, rather than purely theoretical knowledge. Now, let us look at the needs. Customers often face challenges such as adapting to rapid market changes, fostering a cohesive company culture across global teams, and addressing the leadership gap left behind by retiring senior leaders. There is also a significant emphasis on integrating ethical leadership and mindfulness into their core practices, reflecting wider social trends in our society nowadays. In 2024, leadership burnout rose to 56%, up from 52% in 2023, with Generation X and Millennial leaders most affected. This has led to a significant turnover. Next, to set the competitive landscape, we looked at potential new customers which InSoul would be facing when entering the market of mindful impact leadership programs. We started by looking at direct and adjacent competitors. Ser Integral is Portugal's leading mindfulness center. Their work is rooted in clinical applications of mindfulness, especially around addiction recovery and mental health. This focus, while powerful, does not speak directly to the leadership development space, making their model less transferable to InSoul's corporate clients. TTM blends leadership coaching with wellness, but their offering remains generic. There is no structured long-term transformation model, and their methodology does not integrate measurable frameworks, which limits their ability to communicate ROI to corporate clients. Reinvent Yourself focuses heavily on personal branding and public speaking, offering practical tools for self-promotion. The School of We, on the other hand, leans towards philosophy and community practices, which resonate emotionally but lack corporate credibility. These benchmarks confirm that no existing competitor combines a structured framework like the VCW with deep personal transformation. That's the opportunity we saw for InSoul. We synthesized our diagnostic work using a TOES matrix. InSoul's internal strengths include their coaching experience, existing client relationships, and a strong belief system rooted in human flourishing. Their weaknesses relate to scale and digital presence. Externally, there's opportunity to differentiate in a cluttered market by focusing on measurable, mindful leadership. Now, what are the threats? market skepticism around soft skill ROI, and the abundance of surface level programs. This analysis gave us a strategic frame, positioned InSoul as a trusted partner in conscious leadership development with measurable impact. After having set the stage with our diagnostic of InSoul status quo, let us dive into the challenge description. We framed the challenge of InSoul to how can InSoul communicate and deliver a mindful leadership program that uses the VCW in a subtle, transformative way. The emphasis on subtle was important. Clients don't need to learn the tool themselves, but they need to benefit from its logic. This reframing allowed us to align the program with InSoul's style, experiential, intuitive, and evidence-based. Yet, at the core is still the task to find the unique value proposition of VCW for the new Impact Leadership Program using the VCW methodology. Using the 5 whys technique, we dug deeper. Why mindfulness? Because clients want purpose. Why purpose? Because leaders feel disconnected. And why disconnected? Because they're overwhelmed, burned out, and reactive. This led us to realize that mindfulness, practiced and embedded into the company, was the foundational need. Our challenge evolved from compliance to consciousness. Now, let us look at the expected KPIs for our challenge. Once we defined the challenge, we had to make sure our work could be measured, not just in tasks completed, but in impact delivered. And that's where our KPIs came in. We split them into internal and external dimensions across short, mid, and long-term goals. Internally, we wanted to ensure the team stayed cohesive, on schedule, and deeply engaged with the VCW process while still achieving our wishful grade of a minimum 0.18. Externally, we wanted to track participant engagement, stakeholder involvement, program completion, and ultimately meaningful behavioral change in leaders. We also included aspirational metrics like alumni success and stakeholder advocacy because this isn't a one-off project, it's about building momentum and community over time. By anchoring our work in these KPIs from the start, we weren't just building ideas, we were building a system that could grow, adapt, and prove its worth.
Moving into phase 2, increase. We focus on expanding our understanding of the context and gathering as much qualitative and quantitative input as possible to inspire our ideation. The goal of this phase is to widen the lens to avoid rushing into premature conclusions and to open the space for exploration. Our question here was, what do leaders really need today to lead with awareness, clarity, and presence? So now, let's focus on the phase 2A to increase ideas. To find answers, we first mapped out our research strategy. We combined secondary research, such as competitor analysis and academic papers on mindfulness in leadership, with 2 core forms of primary research: a stakeholder survey and a student focus group. We've chosen this dual method deliberately. With the focus group, we targeted future leaders at Nova ASBE to understand their expectations, mindset, and challenges. For the survey, we targeted current leaders and decision makers from various industries. This allowed us to compare generational expectations, spot misalignments, and design a program that bridges both worlds. To validate the need of this new program and to gather insights about the awareness, expectations, needs, and gaps for this new program, we've created a 16-question survey and sent it to professionals across healthcare, tech, and consulting. We gathered 12 responses from team leads, managers, and directors. Most were familiar with the concept of mindfulness, but few had experienced it in a professional training context. 91% expressed interest in such a program. In terms of format, the preferred structure was a hybrid setup, combining a retreat with follow-up digital missions. The clearest red flag was programs that are overly theoretical or lack real-life applications. Our focus group consisted of 8 master's students in business and management. We framed the discussion around their lived experience with leadership, their expectations from future roles, and their relationship with mindfulness. The session revealed recurring themes: the desire for emotional safety, clarity under stress, peer feedback, and structured reflection time. One participant described leadership development as too abstract and asked for more practical, grounded tools. Another stated, "We need something that breaks the autopilot of execution." Here, we dove deeper into identified gaps. Current leadership programs were perceived as rigid, content heavy, and disconnected from emotional experience. Participants craved vulnerability, feedback, and shared discovery. As one student said, "I don't want another slide deck. I want someone to see how I lead and give me real feedback." These results reinforce the idea that our program needed to be more than instructive. It needed to create space for transformation, experimentation, and internal clarity. We began idea generation with a classic brainwriting session. Each of us wrote down ideas independently, focusing on solutions that meet the emotional and strategic needs we uncovered. Then we rotated the papers and built on each other's thoughts. This created a quiet but highly creative dynamic, avoiding the groupthink that often happens in verbal brainstorming. Ideas range from digital features to retreat rituals, from storytelling methods to stakeholder coaching tools. To diversify our inputs, we invited students outside our project group to repeat the brainwriting activity. This gave us a fresh, unbiased perspectives. We deliberately avoided briefing them in too much detail, just enough to explain the user problem. As a result, they offer ideas free from the limitations of our prior analysis. This step helped us to think beyond what we already knew, and some of the raw ideas, including the role-playing simulation and the idea of using metaphors like inner weather checks, inspired real features in the final program. Finally, we experimented with AI. We used ChatGPT to generate alternative ideas based on our criteria and research. The AI was helpful in proposing new angles and organizing raw inputs into clusters. Some ideas were too generic, but others, such as digital values tracker and storytelling circles, resonated deeply. We walked away with 47 raw ideas from all three sources. Now, let's dig into phase 2, increase 2B, increase the criteria. Our next step was to define filtering criteria. Again, we use brainwriting. This time we focus on what must a solution have to be worth testing. Key themes included scalability, stakeholder resonance, co-creation potential, and emotional impact. Criteria were grouped into categories: user-based, feasibility-based, and strategic. To avoid blind spots, we used ChatGPT again, this time to challenge and expand our list. The AI helped us to articulate implicit values and added a few new ones like clarity of emotional benefit and clarity of storytelling. This step also helped us to prepare for phase 3, where criteria weighting becomes crucial. Now, let's take a look in the last phase of phase 2, purification of concepts.
With 47 ideas in hand, we needed to filter. First, we grouped similar ideas to remove duplicates. Then we hosted a pocket filtering session. Each team member rated the ideas anonymously based on feasibility, creativity, alignment with VCW, and potential for behavior change. We debated the scores, shared our reasoning, and revised the shortlist. This was a real turning point. By the end, we had 32 unique, promising ideas to move forward with. Regarding the criteria, we decided to keep all of the ones that we had. Now that we had 32 refined ideas and a solid set of evaluation criteria, we moved into phase 3, assess. This is the point in the VCW where you begin evaluating, not just filtering ideas, but assessing them, weighting criteria to move from a long list to a tested concept. It's not only about choosing what's feasible, but what's transformative and aligned with stakeholder needs. So let's start with select ideas. One of the most pivotal moments in this phase was our live filtering session with our KDM, Maria Giulia. We scheduled a dedicated Teams meeting to walk her through the shortlist ideas and criteria we developed. Here we have the reflection of the 32 ideas from our KDM that later will go through the value creation funnel. So we have 12 full embraced ideas, 11 clear preference, and 9 noted as unexpected. During the meeting, we also discussed the evaluation criteria, which I remember you had confirmed in full by the team previously. In the meeting, we asked her to assign weights to each criteria based on what she felt mattered most from InSoul perspective. For example, she rated behavioral shift and personalization potential with the highest weights. This session was essential to ensure co-creation. It also helped align our direction with InSoul's internal priorities and gave the decision-making process a real-world anchor. Here you can see the finalized list of criteria that emerged from our ideation process. The criteria were derived from stakeholder insights, InSoul's brand values, and the behavioral goals we set earlier. We grouped them into three main categories: strategic fit and VCW alignment. And does it embody the VCW process? Does it help leaders generate value, not just receive it? Then we have feasibility and scalability. Can it realistically be implemented within InSoul's budget and timeframe? Can it scale for future cohorts? And transformation impact. Will it help leaders shift from autopilot to presence? Will it promote long-term behavioral change, not just short-term inspiration? This breakdown helps us to bring structure to final decision process. So let's go now in the phase 4 on the VCW. Narrow is where we move from filtered options to a fully developed solution. This is where our concept takes shape in detail. With all prior phases supporting it, we distilled our strongest ideas into one integrated solution. At this stage, we had collected 32 promising ideas from our idea session, co-creation with stakeholders, external brainwriting, and AI generation. However, 32 ideas are too many to test or present. So the next critical step was to filter and narrow them down to those with the highest impact and feasibility. To do this, we built a custom value creation funnel using the 8 strategic filters we had previously ranked with our KDM. Let's walk through these filters. Consumer demand and competitive differentiation. Does the idea respond to a real market needs and set InSoul apart from existing offers? Stakeholder impact and revenue potential. Does this create sustainable value for participants, and will it bring recurring income? Behavioral transformation. Does the idea create deep leadership habit change or is just cosmetic? ESG alignment. Does integrate values like inclusivity and long-term thinking in line with InSoul's mission of contagious leadership? Corporate expectation. Would company actually sponsor this? Does it align with how leadership develop budgets are spent today? Scalability. Could this model work beyond one retreat across clients, geography, and team sizes? Feasibility. With budget and time. Can it be prototyped within 1 year and the 8,000 budget? VCW compatibility. is the idea structurally sound within the VCW methodology? Each of the 32 ideas went through this rigorous funnel, and only those that passed all the filters remained. As you can see on the right side, this left us with 6 strong multi-phase solutions, including simultaneous real-life simulation, real-life challenges, coaching structures, and hybrid gamified formats. These solutions are not standalone. They form a modular ecosystem that we will later integrate into a 5-phase training model. To validate the selected idea, we conducted an MCDA analysis, which confirmed that the criteria prioritized through the funnel process also ranked highest in the MCDA results. This alignment gave us the confidence to move forward, using these insights to shape our value proposition and develop the program concept. To validate the selected idea, we conducted an MCDA analysis, which confirmed that the criteria prioritized through the funnel process also ranked highest in the MCDA results. This alignment gave us the confidence to move forward, using these insights to shape our value proposition and develop the program concept. So now let's see what happened after the value creation funnel and the MCDA analysis. Here you see the final value proposition. VCW for Leadership Impact, a regenerative leadership program that equips managers with mindful tools, strategic presence, and the ability to lead through transformation. This wasn't just about stating what the program is, but capturing what it does. The term regenerative was important. It communicates the leadership impact must come from within, and it must sustain itself. We wanted to design a journey that renews energy rather than drain it, aligned with InSoul's holistic philosophy. With this, we help leaders break old habits by introducing a clear, adaptable thinking model that fosters intentional, forward-looking decisions. Our approach transforms isolation and inertia into shared ownership, cross-functional trust, and agile collaboration. Leaders adopt new behaviors rooted in awareness and co-creation, building environments that thrive on connection and change readiness. Here we highlight what makes the program unique. It's not just a training, it's a journey. It integrates personalized diagnostics, inner development and strategic action, group and solo practice, a subtle embedded use of VCW, and a format that goes beyond theory to transform daily behavior. These differentiators respond directly to what our stakeholder told us was missing in the market. For a better understanding of our uniqueness in the market, here we shows why our program stands in this environment. Unlike other programs, we score high on customization, inner work, stakeholders' involvement, and reflection. We intentionally deprioritize content-heavy sessions and off-the-shelf models. This positioning will help InSoul enter a space that is currently unserved. So now let's see a prototype that we develop aligned with our value proposition to create the best program as possible. This is the complete overview of the final program. It is structured into 5 interconnected phases as the VCW. First, diagnostic and coaching, personal VCW exploration and goal setting, immersive retreat, deep practice through simulation and reflection, hybrid integration, weekly missions and stakeholders check-ins. Fourth, leadership playground, group simulation to test presence and resilience. Fifth, regenerative loop, storytelling, impact reflection, and alumni integration. Each phase was designed to subtly embed the VCW model. Participants won't necessarily know the term VCW, but they will experience its logic, diverging, converging, filtering, reflecting. This creates a balance between structure and human insights. The journey begins with a one-on-one coaching session. Each leader uses a simplified version of the VCW to explore their challenges and strengths. They identify partners, clarify goals, and set personal intentions. This phase grounds the learning in their lived reality. Next, we bring leaders together for a 2-day immersive retreat. It includes guided meditation, reflective dialogue, and scenarios, where participants practice presence under pressure. One powerful feature here is the use of real-life dilemmas. Instead of abstract theory, participants role-play business tension with a mindfulness lens. After the retreat, participants return to work with a digital platform that supports habit formation. Each week they receive missions tied to their goals and leadership context. These missions are not generic. They are informed by Phase 1 coaching and personalized challenges. Participants receive nudges, journal prompts, and feedback loops to reinforce behavior change. In this phase, leaders come back together in a live simulation lab. They apply what they've learned in real time under observation. This creates a safe space for testing new responses. They are not only challenged technically but emotionally. This addresses the stakeholder needs for feedback-rich, real-world leadership experience. Finally, we close with reflection. Each leader shares their transformation story. These stories are captured in writing or video. They also co-create insights for future cohorts. This loop reinforces the idea that learning isn't linear, it regenerates. It supports alumni integration and positions InSoul to create a leadership ecosystem.
Additionally, to ensure our leadership program truly resonates with the next generation of leaders, we took a step back and listened. For that, we launched an exploratory survey designed to tap directly into the perspectives of young future leaders. The goal of this survey was threefold. First, we wanted to explore their level of interest in mindful and regenerative leadership. Second, we sought to understand whether they could see themselves as a good fit for a program grounded in real-world challenges, co-creation, and inner development. And finally, we asked them to share their ideas, advice, and suggestions. How could we make this journey even more relevant, impactful, and inspiring? Their feedback has been invaluable. It's helping us validate our positioning, refine the program experience, and ultimately ensure that InSoul's leadership journey isn't designed for both current and future leaders, but truly speaks to them. So, what did we discover? Firstly, that 55% of respondents showed a clear willingness to engage with the program. They expressed a readiness to be part of something that aligns with their values and aspirations. However, an important nuance here. 22% of them said they were interested but still unsure. They needed to better understand how the program could specifically benefit them. That tells us there's opportunity here to clarify value, address uncertainties, and strengthen how we communicate the benefits. Meanwhile, 44% indicated that they believe in the program can help them become better leaders. This isn't just about appeal, it's about perceived impact. They see the potential for personal growth, for transformation, for learning that's both practical and profound. And at the heart of this survey lies a powerful insight. Today's emerging leaders are not just seeking skills, they are seeking meaningful growth, authenticity, and purposeful impact. By listening to them early in the process, we are shaping a program that doesn't just meet them where they are, but elevates them where they want to be. In this part of the 4Ps, we took a comprehensive look at our product, place, price, and promotion strategy. It's thoughtfully designed to align with both the needs of our audience and the transformational vision of InSoul. On the product side, our flagship offer is the Impact Leadership Program, a high-impact customizable coaching and transformation journey tailored for C-level leaders. What makes it unique is our application of the VCW methodology, a proven approach to help leaders fundamentally rethink how they lead. The program is not a one-size-fits-all. It includes personalized diagnostics to map current leadership styles, immersive workshops delivered both online and in person, a dedicated platform for continuous exchange and learning, and tailored tools for sustainable mindset and behavioral change. It is a deeply personalized, evidence-based experience designed to accelerate growth and impact. In terms of place, our delivery model is hybrid by design, offering maximum flexibility and reach. Online components include a dynamic learning platform, access to the VCW methodology, and peer forums for dialogue. For deeper immersion, we'll hold in-person retreats in Portugal. And for organizations, We offer on-site team facilitation to support collective transformation. Importantly, this model is scalable across Lusophone regions and adaptable for global Portuguese-speaking organizations. Our pricing model is value-based and tiered, depending on the scope and format. Executive one-to-one journeys, cohort-based or team formats, and custom enterprise projects. We are also offering pilot discounts and phase payments to align with our clients' ROI expectations and support long-term partnership. This makes our offer both strategic and financially accessible. Finally, our promotion strategy is rooted in credibility and targeted communication. We'll engage in direct C-level outreach and appear at relevant leadership events and thought leadership platforms, such as webinars and articles. We'll also showcase pilot case studies and testimonials to demonstrate real-world impact. Finally, we plan to co-brand with trusted institutions, helping boost our visibility and enhance credibility from the start. This prototype phase is not just about building a product, it's about designing a whole ecosystem for transformation, where each element, from structure to strategy, is built to serve leaders who are ready to lead differently and to make meaningful impact within themselves, their organizations, and their communities. As we advance in the prototyping phase, another critical insight emerged: a gap in awareness. Despite the growing interest in conscious leadership, many potential clients still lacked a clear understanding of what a mindfulness and impact leadership program truly offers, and how it differs from more conventional executive development tracks. What we found was that even purpose-driven leaders were asking, what exactly does the program involve? Or how is it different from what I've already done? To respond, we needed to go just beyond describing features. We needed to communicate purpose, value, and credibility, clearly and compellingly. That's why we developed this flyer, a strategic communication asset designed to bridge that awareness gap. It was created with two main goals. First, to clearly articulate the program's purpose and structure so potential clients can quickly grasp what the journey involves and how it benefits them. And secondly, to establish credibility and differentiation, highlighting what makes this program not just another leadership course, but a transformative experience backed by methodology, depth, and intent. As we continue refining our prototype and preparing for broader outreach, tools like this flyer are essential. They help us tell our story with clarity and confidence, ensuring our message resonates with those who are ready to lead differently, but might not yet know that this journey exists for them. In Phase 5 of the VCW Act, we focused on implementation, control, and future scaling. Our goal here was to move from concept to action. This meant defining how InSoul could launch the program, who would be involved, what resources were needed, and what timeline was realistic. In terms of manpower, this project was driven by a collaborative task force composed of InSoul's leadership team and our external team from Nova SVE. Internally, while we didn't engage directly with Marta Bicho and Fatima Eiras during development, they will be key to implementing the new leadership program. For this reason, we mapped them to their upcoming roles. Marta will take on strategic learning and facilitation, while Fatima will lead participant experience and client relations. Maria Julia, as CEO and founder, was deeply involved throughout the challenge, acting as a key decision maker and visionary architect of the program. From the Nova side, our team contributed across 4 pillars: market research focused on stakeholder diagnostics and benchmarking, strategy led the alignment of our curriculum with VCW logic, customer journey ensured smooth participation flow from enrollment to follow-up, and communications brought it all together into compelling value articulation. This mix allows us to co-design a solution that's visionary yet grounded in feasibility and strategic alignment. In this part, we developed a detailed 12-week roadmap that includes prototyping, testing, revisions, internal team training, and marketing. Each stage is linked to a clear deliverable. For example, the platform prototype is tested in week 4, feedback is gathered by week 7, and revisions are completed by week 9. The program officially launches in week 12. The total budget we estimated was €8,000, and this number is broken down into 4 categories. Firstly, platform development and testing is €3,000. Secondly, retreat facilitation and logistics is €2,500. Thirdly, marketing and promotional materials would be €1,500. And finally, internal training and contingency would be €1,000. This breakdown ensures that the most essential phases, which are the retreat and digital personalization, are well resourced. We then map the full business model using the canvas. As shown, the key partners are mindfulness coaches, tech collaborators, and strategic advisors. Key activities include program design, facilitation, platform updates, and community management. The value proposition is clear. Deliver a transformative reflective leadership experience that uses the VCW without requiring prior knowledge of it. Channels include HR networks, executive search firms, and alumni referrals. Revenue will come from individual registrations and corporate subscriptions. Costs are centered on content, delivery, and platform hosting. This model gives InSoul the clarity to scale, iterate, and measure. We also defined the STP strategy. For segmentation, we looked at two layers: individual leaders and institutional buyers. Within this, we identified profiles based on readiness for change, leadership responsibility, and openness to reflection. For targeting, we focused on mid-career managers, HR directors, and high-potential leaders, people who already sense the limits of conventional training and are actively seeking more integrated approaches. In terms of positioning, this is not just another leadership program, it's a transformation journey. It doesn't overload participants with theory, but helps them uncover clarity through presence. This program positions InSoul as a pioneer in experiential, value-based leadership transformation. As regards the KPIs evaluation, we decided to divide between internal KPIs and external KPIs. Our internal KPIs measure team collaboration, project milestone adherence, internal satisfaction, process efficiency, VCW methodology integration, framework mastery and adoption, and finally team innovation capability. Whereas on the other side, for the external KPIs, these are more focused on the developed prototype. And in fact, since the prototype has not been implemented yet, we revised relevant KPIs to be monitored, such as leadership mindset shift, event participation rate, and stakeholder engagement, among many others, to validate the real-world impact of the program. Afterwards, we deliberately organized the next steps to launch and scale the leadership program into 4 key areas. First, conducting a final testing of the VCW integrated training, collecting feedback and analyzing data to apply last refinements to the retreat and digital components. Secondly, it is important to improve the platform, also based on test feedback, and add new gamification mechanisms. Overall, the goal in this step is to guarantee that the digital platform is ready and fully tested. Thirdly, we must secure strategic partners with mindfulness experts, VCW trained coaches, and certified institutions. Finally, for the fourth and last step, we plan on launching the communication campaign, which includes a strategy such as publishing a mini case study or testimonial teaser and hosting a webinar to present the concept publicly. Of course, in this project we faced many challenges. One of them, to name a few, was navigating the abstract nature of the topic. As we know, mindfulness is deeply personal and normally not very easy to navigate in a strategic language. Another one was the limitation of not being able to test the program with InSoul existing clients due to confidentiality concerns. So instead, we leaned into research and simulations to validate the solution. As we conclude, we would like to reflect briefly on what we learned from applying the VCW. First, early alignment with our key decision maker, Maria Julia, was essential. This helped us avoid scope drift and stay rooted in strategic relevance. Second, trusting the process allows creative freedom while staying structured. Some of our best ideas came from the directions we hadn't initially considered, but the funneling process helped us refine and prioritize. Third, the VCW didn't constrain our creativity, it enhanced it. The flexibility in tools meant we could adapt each phase to the mindset-driven, people-centric nature of our challenge. Fourth, stakeholder feedback changed our perspective. Hearing directly from leaders and future leaders helped us reframe our assumptions and build a value proposition that truly resonated. And finally, empathy was a guiding principle. By staying attuned to the lived experience of the leader, we were able to co-create a program with emotional depth and measurable impact. Regarding the learned lessons and also reflecting on the VCW as a tool, we could say that it actually allowed us to work in a truly iterative, human-centered way. The 5 phases built on each other and created a structure without stifling creativity. We actually used nearly all the tools in the methodology, from the 5 whys and brainwriting to MCDA and stakeholder filtering. We also wanted to share some feedback gathered from both our team and external stakeholders. On our team side, we realized that this project has helped us so much expand our vision around leadership, opening our minds to new perspectives from different stakeholders. Also, in the development of the project, even though at first we struggled severely, we actually appreciate very much how much we've learned to balance creativity with structure and deep logic. From the external stakeholders, we tried to understand their underserved needs, such as what they said of too much theory without real-world grounding, and therefore create a program that fully satisfies their concerns. Finally, we would like to close with a very reflective quote that guided our project. Real change doesn't begin with answers, but with staying in the right questions long enough to allow transformation to emerge. Thank you very much.